Hello. All right. How's everybody doing? I got my cheat sheet to go over everything. Got my water, so if I lose my voice, I can keep going. Sorry, no yelling at folks. I don't want to lose my voice or anything. All right, so I've been gone for a week, which I guess for many of you out there may seem like eternity. So I'm sure, let's see here. Where do we start? So if you haven't heard, I'm sure the internet's made up all kinds of fun stuff by now. I'm sure there's another 50 videos about Rudy and speculation and all kinds of silliness. I got sick and had to kind of put everything on hold. I got tested for everything from, all the COVID stuff and RSVs and different things. Well, it turns out I have influenza string A. So essentially the flu in version A. And apparently that's the most aggressive, worst version that you can possibly get. So it's been fun. So not only did, after that happened, what ended up happening next was the doctor prescribed some sort of mega dose powerful thing. The prescription, so I had a negative reaction to the prescription, which messed me up further. And ta-da. So obviously, I apologize for a little bit of delay. Trying to catch up with all the drama and news. I'm sure, even though I haven't been here, I'm sure the Rudy drama continues. And thank you all for your patience. And we're going to go into the new Ravnica Remastered. Giving you guys some opinions on some information that's been brought to me. We got the new Flesh and Blood heavy hitters coming up in about a month. We got news on Hasbro and Chris Cox. And secret layers and changes, which are going to make the game piece army pretty upset because Hasbro's continuing to pivot on print runs and things like that. Then we got the One Piece conversation we got to have here. Apparently One Piece is taking the Rudy advice of not overprinting and the game piece perspective a little too seriously. Bandai, you need to increase your print runs. Like, what are you doing, dude? You have your boxes coming out and they're going up like 300-400%. Stupid. Then we're going to jump into the last thing here. We're going to talk about the new Sorcery. My final batch of my Sorcery products should be finally showing up after still being customs or whatever. I believe we've officially, I think the airline or whatever has declared the playmats officially gone. And then let you guys know about the new PCG player, Flesh and Blood Fab Slab. So we're getting ready. We're all testing that, getting that up and running here in the next week or two. So let's go back to the beginning. First, let's talk about Ravnica Remastered. I'm going to give you guys my opinion, the good and the bad, and what concerns me. So first, Ravnica Remastered, we have draft and collector boxes. Draft boxes, don't touch them. The only thing Ravnica Remastered has going for it is the collector boxes in serialized, like vintage Shocklands. That's essentially where it's at. I believe that alone is going to prevent the full collapse of the Ravnica Remastered collector boxes. And at least that's how I'm going to try to play this market release, which is what we're all going to find out in the next 7 to 10 days, right? I believe with the reduced print run, and multiple people have contacted me doing a bunch of napkin math about the print run based on the serialized cards of these Shocklands. Based on the pool rates of the serialized shocks, we're estimating 250 to 275,000 collector boxes worth of booster packs for Ravnica Remastered. Now we adjust that number for as little as 15, as much as 30% for supplementary products, loose packs. If every Walmart gets 2 boxes, 24? If every Walmart even gets 2 boxes worth of Ravnica Remastered single blister packs of collectors, 3,000 Walmarts in 2 boxes? That alone 6,000 boxes worth of single blister packs. Then you factor in the Target, the Amazon, the Barnes & Nobles, and Books A Millions, and Electronics Boutique and everything. So in my opinion right there, it does, if you want to be bullish, it does look like not only did the print run of Ravnica Remastered collector boxes looks like it did get reduced, but there's even a chance that it could be actually down to between 150 no, not I'd say 160,000 to about 190,000, and that's on the bullish side. Now on the bearish side, it could be as low as 200,000 and as high as 250,000. So that's where that stands. With Wizards' attempt at saying no restocks, taking what you want, that's it. They've never done that in the history of the company before. And that's what's really going to really test everything. This is a huge moment for Hasbro and Wizards. Personally, we're seeing an impact of Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast cannibalize and attack themselves, because essentially they're having a hard time selling their own products because the market is repricing the product lower, because they've taken all the cards of value, game pieces, and they turn them into diluted, valued cards, game pieces. So because of that, Hasbro and Wizards is having a tough time raising the prices of products to sell to all of us. Now, the simple answer would be, well, Hasbro should just lower the price of Ravnica Remastered collector boxes from a store cost of $225, selling online for $250. If they just lower the price back to like Throne of Eldraine era, where a collector box was like $175, and we could all sell it for $199, you know, dropping prices, swinging things 20-30% lower makes a big difference. So we're continuing to see that tug of war as we move into this new era of the internet game piece. Everything needs to be cheap versus the people who are looking for unique, special, rare things. You have that tug of war back and forth. Next, we're going to move to Flesh and Blood. We are about a month away from the Heavy Hitter set. And I believe this is, if I recall, the last time from like a month or so ago from the company, this particular one is the one they're doing in New Zealand, where they open the boxes and they're going to kind of spoil the whole thing and kind of, I don't know if they're going to stream it. I hope they do on YouTube. And so everybody gets to see the cards and the experience and everything like that. At least I've heard a lot of people seem excited about the set, but I've also heard many people saying, I'm not touching it till it collapses. So we have that tug of war also going on back and forth. And then we have stores on the other side are already getting jittery because we're a month away and Heavy Hitters is selling at about $89 a box, which is the map pricing on TCG Player about a month in advance. So that's making many LGSs in the United States here very jittery, very nervous about their kind of allocations of what they ordered for maybe a month ago. In my opinion, if the set is good, overall, it should be able to hold its own. Again, you know, the last set, Bright Lights, was a weaker set compared to, I mean, it's no Dusk Till Dawn. It's no Dynasty, right? So we're going to see what happens with that. Once again, we have the tug of war going on with that situation. Now, I want to swing back to Hasbro real quick. We had more interesting developments with Chris Cox. After the layoffs and things he did on his employees during the holidays, Chris Cox made more comments to the public about prolonged weakness in collectibles and things like that. So, which led to more interesting developments. If I'm able to feel better and everything, folks, I'll make some more videos going into more in depth of this, but I at least wanted to cover all this and discuss it with everything, okay? Chris Cox is essentially acknowledging the downturn in Magic collectibles and tabletop gaming is lasting longer than he had anticipated. Because of that, sorry, hang on. Because of that, it looks like Chris Cox is moving forward with tighter print runs on Ravnica Remastered collector boxes, which was what we just talked about. And we're going to see if he's telling the truth. And I'm pretty much going to be offering that product to my patrons. And I'm going to keep some of the I'm going to keep some cases for myself. I'm going to offer it to viewers like you all and supporters of me. And I'm going to report to you all next week how it goes. Which, before we go back to the Chris Cox, I forgot to add that I got a note here I forgot to add. The biggest concern I see with Ravnica Remastered right now is the sell-through rate and liquidity and demand of the product on eBay TCG Player is incredibly low, which is very concerning. But, as many patrons point out to me, this is exactly what happened with Lord of the Rings Special Holiday Edition. And that product never tanked. and actually now it's $300 plus tax on TCG Player, and actually upticking. So it's very tricky, because many of these things are people, I mean, look what happened with Ixalan, with Magic the Gathering. Ixalan collector boxes are on TCG Player hitting almost all, I think they're 240 plus tax, almost all-time highs. I think 249 was the all-time high. So, I mean, you're seeing products come out, people are nervous, and then once it doesn't collapse, you see money and people start buying it again. It's very interesting on there. Anyway, so back to the Hasbro Chris Cox thing. I know you guys aren't going to believe this. It looks like not only are there pivots and things happening at Hasbro, because they're being forced to, otherwise Chris is going to lose his job. I actually going to give you all my opinion what's going to happen next. I think, you ready for this? I think pretty soon the online game piece army is going to start to turn on Magic and Wizards and Hasbro. And I'm going to tell you why I just said that. Because all of a sudden, in the last few hours, now that I actually ate some food and I'm not shooting the food out of my face all over the wall, it turns out a bunch of articles and news things are happening that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro is adjusting the Secret Lair drop series back to a limited quantity. And within 1 day of that notice and that change happening, the internet, and of course the game piece community, is already posting articles and attacks towards Hasbro and Wizards and Chris Cox, saying that this is now a scalper's dream. Hold on, and I quote, a scalper's paradise. So essentially, it allows people to buy a bunch and then let it sell out. And you can scalp it against less fortunate people. I love the word scalping. So this reinforces what I think we have coming next is going to be one of the greatest tug of wars of 2024, 2025. And that is, I think the market is going to start shifting on Magic and Hasbro. Now, what does that mean? That means, in my opinion, what I think is going to happen is as Hasbro and Wizards start to tighten their numbers, and now we're seeing tightening with Secret Lair. I didn't see this one coming. So now they're going to have, and by the way, I love how Hasbro and Wizards worded this. They specifically said, we are adjusting the Secret Lair program to increase the ship time. So we're doing it for you all. We're here for you. They still made me proud because they were able to slip in the for the community vibe. Never let me down, Chris. So, so I thought that was interesting. So I believe the next battle we have coming up is not going to be the Game Piece Army versus Rudy. I don't think it's going to be the internet mobs versus your LGS. I think the next wave of tug of war is actually going to be the Game Piece internet pitchfork army turning against themselves, against Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, because Chris is realizing at Hasbro that what he's doing is just not holding up. And although we have a lot of memes of the guy's not that stupid. He's made some mistakes, but he's not a complete moron. None of these people with these companies, you don't make it to the top without having some form of intelligence, or you get lightning in a bottle. So what I think is going to happen next is we're going to see, just like this article is already, the very first sign is happening. We had Amazon dumps and things shifting behind the scenes, which I can't legally discuss publicly at this time until about a year from now. Number two, we have this new aggressive situation with tighter print runs of collector boxes for Ravnica Remastered. Number three, the most recent piece of news, we now have Chris Cox acknowledging the downturn in collectibles is worse than he thought, which means that he's still too slow to react, which means the market was right and he was wrong. At least he acknowledges it now. And it also means we are seeing more tightening, which now he's adjusting his Secret Lair program. So, where does that leave everything? as you saw articles already, attacking this direction change on Secret Lairs, I think the negativity and pushback is going to flare up as Chris and Wizards attempts to reinflate the value of some of the game pieces. Because Chris's best way out of Hasbro stock and everything is going to be keeping margins high. I gotta take a break. Sorry about that. I'm okay. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, the Secret Lair thing. So I think the next tug of war situation is going to be articles and people who are going to be unhappy with the change, as I believe Magic the Gathering starts to pivot back to what made them, well, collectible. So, let's move to the next thing here. One Piece. So the One Piece trading card game has been out of control. Absolutely out of control. This is a situation where there are some people at Bandai who do watch this YouTube channel. I've had some weird messages actually from Bushiroad and Bandai in the past from employees and ex-employees. Now that I've actually had communication with. More so with Bushiroad, not as much as Bandai though. I do know Bandai and the demand and what's happening with One Piece was not something they were ready for. Also, One Piece is still currently under a threshold of a single distributor, and demand remains extremely powerful. It is rumored that they have the ability to increase the print runs of One Piece, but it is rumored that they are taking the anti-game piece mentality because no one's doing it. I don't know how much of that is true. In my opinion, if One Piece has the ability to raise the print run, they are in a situation where they need to raise it. One Piece booster boxes are coming out, and they are doing what they're supposed to do, which is sell at MSRP for like a day, but then they're doing what they're not supposed to be doing. A One Piece booster box should come out and sell for between $1 and $140, maybe $150 at the most if it's a good set. And it should be stable there. The fact we have One Piece boxes at $200, $300, $400, $500, 2, 3, 4xing your money. Bandai is leaving too much money on the table, and that is a true situation that you do need increased print runs. And now I'm hearing rumors that One Piece OP6 and OP7 are not having increased print runs. So, which is, in my opinion, there's only two logical explanations at this point in time. A, they don't have the ability to increase print runs due to printer capacity or other outside variables. B, they are deliberately going out of their way to make the game and the success of the cards and demand and pricing so intense, they want to be the cheese that stands alone. They want to be the one person that goes against the game piece mentality. I don't know enough about Bandai to give you my opinion, but I'm leaning towards the printer capacity because I don't feel like someone like Bandai would leave that kind of money on the table. I feel there has to be other variables, but it's definitely very interesting. All right. Small comment on Weiss. We got some huge Weiss releases. The Chainsaw Man, Spy vs. Spy. We got some major Weiss releases coming up. That's all I'm going to say with that. Now, I want to go into the Sorcery and the PCG stuff. So first, PCG. So we are about to launch the new Flesh and Blood Fab Slab or Player Slab. We'll be showing it off on this channel and let you guys see what it is for Flesh and Blood players. You can actually see what the case and everything looks like. And then we're also going to be, well, we're getting pretty close to, we're getting ready to fire up. We've hired some additional people at PCG here in the United States and Florida. And we've doubled our capacity. We've actually done a complete second laser system and everything. So now we have 2 full lasers. We have multiple slabbers, multiple lasers. We are increasing capacity due to demand and people really happy with the products that we're offering. Now, that means we're about to start on the adventure of Sorcery Rudy Beta Kit number 2. Not exactly game piece style, but yeah. I am so unbelievably impatient to show you all what this card looks like. You're going to lose your mind. It is not appropriate. And it is such a beautiful legend. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, a couple things I'm going to do differently this time. Number one, I'm not going to show any of the grades until all 2,000 cards are graded and everything's done at once. Before, I thought it'd be fun as we closed out batches, and after I audited to make sure that I didn't see any errors on the slab, I clicked off to reveal it on the website in the population report. People were using that as an excuse. They were making up weird stories about cards were missing, something's going on. The internet just makes up too much dumb fake shit. So this time around, we are going to literally hide the whole population report, card name, and everything until it's completely done and ready. So otherwise, people just make up too much negative crap. Any excuse to bash Sorcery, bash me, bash and just people are just too damn negative. So I'd say we're about 4 or 5 weeks away from going with us in the second and final wave of the Sorcery Beta Rudy exclusive number 2 bundles. We have the custom PCG label. It will say number 2. And yes, I already know what you're going to say. So yes, it is a series we're doing with PCG, with special metal labels, and it will say on the back, exclusive number 1, exclusive number 2. It'll be numbered as we do this with Sorcery moving into the future. It's going to be so much fun. Yes, in Sorcery Beta number 2, we will have playmats. And yes, the playmats will not be generic. It's going to be special art. That's all I'm going to say. And it looks beautiful. Okay. Now that we got all that done, I guess now I'm just going to thank everybody. So, personal words of wisdom. It's been a tough bear market on everybody. I said at the end of the year, the last 30, 60 days were probably the toughest. Tons of sad messages from patrons, from stores, liquidating, closing, needing to raise cash. Just a lot of things that are just not exactly the best thing to see. I'd estimate in the last 30 days, I'm thinking, and again, I'm a spitball here, so don't hold me to an exact number. I'd say on the low side, I lost 400 patrons. Maybe on the high side, maybe 1,000. I'm not really sure. I have to check everything again. I haven't been really on top of everything the last probably 7 to 10 days right now. Then, with that being said, I got to really, for those of you who are still interested in discussing the difficult conversations in this industry and what really goes on, I really appreciate you all just for listening. You can be in the I Hate Rudy camp, and that's okay. Rudy, ruins, keeps all the card prices high, bankrupts the boxes, and But I appreciate you all for at least listening and learning the perspective and at least being aware of what's going on out there. I think as of the filming of this, I think most of those slots. So I do know that most of those patron accounts that left, and many of them, as you all probably can imagine, sent me very nasty messages on the way out, and many of them just didn't say anything and just kind of said F off. And thankfully, most of those slots have been filled, but not quite back to where I was, but not at exactly the all-time high. We're off a couple percent, but it just shows, I think what this tells me is that while we continue to kind of churn through people, who are frustrated with this industry, I think the biggest takeaway of everything is that the smarter people tend to stick around. And I don't mean to be silly about it, but it's very interesting, the people who want to really try to learn and better themselves and learn about why things are happening, or what all this stuff that happened with Magic in the last 2 years since Magic 30 and everything that's happened. It really is a very fascinating thing. And it's very difficult to find places you can have good conversations on these topics. Because if you can't do it online, there is no real social media platform besides this YouTube channel, in my opinion, that you can have this kind of conversation, no matter how much you want to hear it or you hate to hear it. These things need to be talked about. And I think moving into 2024, I don't think the market's ready for the potential of what's coming in the next 12, 24 months. And the reason I say that is because the success of even the newer card games, a lot of it's going to be put under pressure, including the hot ones. The hottest right now, what, Disney Lorcana, what, One Piece, Sorcery, the most on fire card games, right? Doesn't matter what company you are. I don't think anyone's fully factoring in a Magic the Gathering, like, return with a vengeance. Like, if we get some form of true grounding and traction, and Chris Cox truly saves his job and turns things around, and he starts getting all this pressure, which is already starting, because sure enough, when I heard that Secret Lairs we're going to start getting adjusted back to original limited quantities, not just until it sells out, it's just going to stay online forever. You know, essentially what happened, and again, I can't legally say this, so I'm going to give you my opinion that I emailed myself. Legally stating that everything on this channel is entertainment, essentially what happened is Secret Lair sales have declined so drastically. They were just sitting on the website, not selling, and it was looking bad. Okay? And why on earth would you let it sit so long when they're not selling? And then people are already complaining, because come on, you all really think Hasbro cared about the ship time on Secret Lairs? Come on. Dude, they've had Secret Lairs and Commander decks that took a year. They don't give it, they don't care. So I think the biggest risk of all these card games, I think, is Magic getting back on their A game. And the early signs are there that they're trying. And that's what I've been discussing the last few months. And so far, the data from the last few sets, looking at Wilds of Eldraine, Ixalan, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, and now the big day is coming with Ravnica Remastered. The last 3-4 releases of Magic have all been incredibly stable and successful. Behind the scenes, I've been deploying more money than I think is appropriate to share and show in the backgrounds, which is why I have not shared what's been going on. I've made the decision, at least for this time being, to not share some of the Pokemon situation and the Magic the Gathering situation. Now, the Magic the Gathering draft box situation, I have to wait 365 days. Then I'm going to share, which by that time most of you watching probably won't even be in the CCG industry anyways. At that point in time, I'll reveal and show you all what made me make some of these decisions and what kind of information happened and what led to it. But I believe the biggest risk of most of these non-Magic CCGs, these companies and these new card games, is actually Magic being successful. Because if Magic returns to a non-game piece market, everything changes. Everything. Now you're talking about products like Commander Masters, Baldur's Gate, which, by the way, I think Baldur's Gate draft or set, I heard they're breaking above $100 a box. Maybe on TCG Player, maybe not eBay. Anyways, We are going to see repricing like you've never seen before. And this has happened many times over years, because we've talked about on this channel. You can have situations where a product does nothing for 8 years. Maybe not 8 years, like 2-3 years. And then on year 4, it jumps 50%. That is actually how most markets behave. It just doesn't feel good to say it that way. The stock market, the S&P 500, most large indexes and indices tend to kind of, that's why they always quote 5-year, 3-year, 1-year, 10-year type of returns on mutual funds. And no matter where, if it's a 401k mutual fund, institutional, or maybe it's just a Vanguard fund or whatever, they always quote in years. So I think Magic success is the biggest risk to everybody else. We're seeing Pokemon's been interesting. We see 2 of the 4 new Pokemon Scarlet Violet boxes back over $100 a box on TCG Player. I think as of the filming of this, they were like $100 and $101. Was it Obsidian or Mr. P? I think Base and Paradox are the 2 that are in like the 90s, which again is incredibly stable for how bad the market is. That's so impressive. So anyways, I think it's really all I have. I don't know if I can really talk much longer. I'm struggling now. I just mostly wanted to share with everybody that, yeah. So to let everybody know the updates, you're probably still going to see reduced videos for a while. I really want to make a video like this and get it out, because if I don't, even when I'm not making videos or I'm sick in bed for 4 or 5 days, everybody just starts making up dumb shit. And before you know it, all these things are happening, and, people think Flesh and Blood and James and LSS flew to Florida and they're coming after Rudy, and that's why he's not allowed to make videos, or MetaZoo abducted something, or Hasbro's, are suing Rudy. People start making up the stupidest stuff. And the reality is, folks, I got very sick. I overworked. I was stressed out. I got run down. And essentially put, I didn't take care of myself, because, as anyone can tell you from watching this channel, I'm obsessed, and that's just how I'm wired. And it's just, I thrive on it. And I like to see it. I like to be a part of it. And, the business and the money naturally will come and become successful long term. And, but yeah, last final comment. I think I'm just going to cut off there. I guess if you want to be a patron, there should still be some slots left over from the large exodus and all the problems that happened the last 30-60 days. There should be, at least as of the filming. I know this morning, when I was able to finally stare at a computer screen for 5 minutes, I think I still had maybe 20 or 30 open slots left from all the people that left. I mean, it's nowhere near the hundreds, but there's still a little bit left. So I appreciate most of you all sticking around. And I appreciate a lot of the newer people who, if you want to support this channel and support kind of this kind of conversation, and if you want to buy crap I sell sometimes, or if you just want to listen and have conversations, I appreciate everything. I guess I would tell you to buy a shirt on eBay, my Game Piece shirt, but I haven't checked the link below. I don't know if there's any left. So I guess you guys can buy a shirt. I don't know what's going on. My family and Lindsay and my friends have been doing the shirt thing for me, so I have to check to see if there's even any left. So I apologize, but if there are shirts below, click the link on eBay and you can buy a shirt that represents the 2023 era, which is this very strong behavior cultural shift that we're going through. And of course, the era where cards are all game pieces, collectability and financial aspects do not matter. Thanks for watching, folks. I got to cut the video off. I appreciate the support. You all have a beautiful day.